plays the hero that you think he's not going to play. Like it just you never see an offlane Night Stalker, and that's just like a. Remember he played what, the Kunkka? I believe there's like another hero that looked like we thought he played the Razor. He just keeps playing these heroes that you don't expect him to play.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they're better in the core role in the game, despite being not considered that role of core. They don't seem to care with General. Have fun. DLHF.
I think you're definitely right. Interesting drafts on both sides. I would definitely give the edge to Na'Vi. Some names that I recognize on effect, especially Afaninje and Afterlife, as well as King R, all older faces around the region if you've been following CIS for the last couple years. Not as familiar with Madden or Maiden, not sure which way that one goes, or Kuman, but...
Mwaiden.
Sorry?
Mwaiden.
I can't tell if you're being serious or making fun.
No, I just made that. I just made that up.
But either way, he is in some trouble. Na'Vi are going to come out swinging. There's a rocket that will connect. That's a pretty decent duration stun.
Give it to Tinker.
And they're not going to give it to the Tinker. General will go ahead and take it. They hesitated for a moment there. Just wanted to make sure the kill comes out. Not sure where the rest of effect might be. And they are spread about. They are going to get in position to grab the bounty rune as they spawn. But still, Na'Vi got to be happy with that.
So Crystallize is actually playing a mid gyro. They're doing a brew safe lane and an off lane. Oh wait, no, wait. What is Gyro doing? He has a Wraith Band. He's going top.
It looks like he's just gonna head top. I don't think they'll go too crazy with the lanes. I mean, Dendi Tinker is almost guaranteed to be mid. LeBron will zone out Kuman, so they'll steal this bounty rune and actually do a lot of damage to the Jug, force him to chew through a Tango. Now that Shadow Shaman walks in, not the hero that really wants to trade blows. Now he'll get stunned up. Is this going to be another kill, perhaps? The Shackle, LeBron taking big damage. It looks like they may trade 1-for-1. General still smacks him down and will now try to pull the creep wave. Yeah, exactly. I think, again, Na'Vi pretty all right with that trade. Not ideal for the Jug to get a kill, but Night Stalker is also one that can get or do a lot with this early momentum, right?
Is it just me, or does it feel like Night Stalker is the perfect hero for General to play? He's so ridiculously aggressive on whatever he plays, and constantly looking to fight. Like, he's not a farming player. He just goes ham. So I feel like this hero is honestly perfect for him. I think we'll see a pretty nice game from General if he gets a decent start, which it looks like he has already. Brew takes the creep wave behind the tower, which means he gets a full creep wave deny on the gyro. That's better for Brew. General brings it in front of the tower because it's a lot harder to do on the Dire side. And although with the boots, he actually could have done it, but opting to
going to be a pretty committed dual lane here in the mid. And so far, it's Afaninje with the slight advantage in terms of CS. Both of the main cores here with a melee support. It's a bit of a stalemate when you look at this. Both sides have a lot of counter initiation. You know, and Sand whoa, he just melts.
Instantaneous.
Okay. I was going to say both sides have some burst potential, but jeez.
That is a very, very deadly combo between these two heroes. And I think what he didn't expect was the SF and the Tusk planned that around the level 2 when they hit level 2. Like, as soon as they hit level 2, they went. And the Sand King saw that they were level 1 and felt like he could burrow away. But they just planned that. They timed that very, very nicely, and it really surprised him.
Down bottom, General actually taking a lot of damage. The Shackles don't do nearly as much as they used to. That was one of the big nerfs to Shadow Shaman this last patch. He's going to get surrounded now 3v1. That'll be the end of the Night Stalker. Jug will just rotate out of the lane, pick up the kill, go right back to farming. So pretty much best case scenario for him. But it does pull some pressure off the mid lane. So Dendi's getting a little bit more space now. In a true 1v1, Tinker does have an upper hand over the Shadow Fiend. The blind is really obnoxious.
For sure. Man, can you believe that the Shackle did 120 damage at level 1 before?
Yeah, it seems insane now.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Awesome of a disable, and then it also does as much damage as, like, the prized Riptide from Naga. Up top, Afterlife in some trouble. Cold Feet will connect, and that makes it an easy kill. We talked about this trio of heroes. It's what they opened with in this draft, and it hurts. Hard for the Brew to lane against.
This is when you see these heroes, you don't care what you are as an offlaner. You're so sad. It's so hard to lane against these three heroes, like, without feeding. And if he just sits and he doesn't feed, he's gonna get in the levels. So it's like he's stuck feeding in this game as an offlaner for Afterlife. That's just how it is against heroes like this. It's either that or he gives way too much space to the enemy team.
Okay, rotation's coming. Nope, never mind. Tusk just going to drop a ward. Then he's going to head right back towards mid lane, making sure his Shadow Fiend doesn't get pressured too much. Down bottom, Juggernaut is really the big breadwinner of this whole laning phase. He's picked up 2 kills and basically been left alone to farm. Even though General has presence in the lane, can't really do a whole lot to stop the Juggernaut from farming.
It's hard to lane here, too. Shadow Shaman Jug is just like a classic deadly combo.
Yep. Handling himself
Shadow
well,
Shaman,
though.
Yeah, he definitely is. He could be feeding a lot more. Once again, it's nighttime, though, actually. He could roam on the Shadow Fiend very easily, and it looks like that's what he's trying to do. He has face boots already because of those early kills. It's 2 bounty runes. He's pretty happy about that.
This is definitely a great transition into the first night. Having phase boots against the Rasta, who's just on brown boots, still pretty far away from anything else.
I think Rasta's dead.
This is a window when you can pick on him.
Do they see him? No, they have no vision of him.
Yeah, the drawback of nighttime, of course. Maiden hiding in the tree line. LeBron playing this one very cautious, not going to reveal himself. Both sides with kind of the same idea here. I think Maiden reading this pretty well. They know LeBron's off the map.
They know Night Stalker's playing up in the lane for no reason other than night. Against a Shadow Shaman Jug, even though it's night, like he would only play this up if there's somebody here, I think. But it is securing him farm, and Tinker's jungling anyway, so LeBron doesn't have anywhere else to be. He could be being greedy, but this is giving his cores farm.
Same with up top. The Brew was just hanging out in the jungle for a moment there, getting farmed that way. Now Maiden scouts it out, and LeBron will be forced back. Okay, so standoff, but as you said, this Night Stalker gets some extra space, and even if you're not getting kills, nice to use this nighttime to put pressure on the lane and try to get a little bit of farm. Up top, Crystallize seems to have a pretty good time against the Brewmaster also in this lane. Brew needs
Tusk
to be a little careful. Yeah, in comes Tusk. The Rocket Barrage hurts, but the shards might hurt even more. He does have a support on the way in, but is Sand King going to be able to save him? A stun on 2. Now maybe the turn the other way. Rocket out onto Afterlife. LeBron throwing in some auto attacks. We'll have another stun in 5. But the good use of the salve, Afterlife will survive. Same deal with King R. Meanwhile, as we were watching that, General did take a tumble in the bottom lane. Kill going the way of the Shadow Shaman. So that deadly combo we were talking about did get the better of it once they saw the Sand King was committed up top.
Yeah, that's a really, really good call by these guys in the safe lane to see that the Sand King TPs, and all of a sudden there's no threat in this Night Stalker, but I think he probably continued playing up because I think General is a very aggressive style player. Likes to apply pressure. So actually, as you see him here, he's chasing the hell out of the Shadow Shaman. He could get turned on really easily here by the Jug.
Yeah, playing very cautiously and appropriately so, even though Maiden is pretty low. Goes up to the high ground. Night Stalker will not be able to get the vision, so that TP will make it out.
God, General really pushes his limits in these lanes. It's really interesting to watch. I think this is a really great way to play off lane right now, because if you just sit there and get denied in the laning phase, the carry gets way too much and you get almost nothing because you get 25% for the denies. It's so worthless. Like, I like how he plays the offlane a lot for this current patch. Look how aggressive he's being on a level 6 Jug. He doesn't care.
That is one of the great things about Night Stalker. Very high base armor for a strength hero. So against physical ultimate like that, he can definitely feel more confident than a lot of other heroes. A full HP Night Stalker, really not too afraid of Omni Slash.
Oh no, 7 armor. He'll survive it, and he'll outrun the spin.
Yeah. Still needs to be careful in those 2v1s, continuing to put a lot of pressure on the Rasta, but Rasta's doing well. Looking at levels, he's level 4, same par with the Night Stalker. It's actually the Sand King that's lowest level in the game, so Navi finding a small edge there, while Effect have that farming edge right now. Mid lane, still going in favor of the Shadow Fiend. He's got a pretty decent net worth lead over Dendi right now.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Dendi has to be so scared of this Tusk combo, and I'm actually surprised that Dendi hasn't died once, because Tusk is literally just sitting mid this whole time for the most part. Where is he at? Okay, they're smoking top, but for the most part this game, he's just been sitting mid, and this is such a hard... I mean, I play a lot of Tinker. This is such a hard lane for Tinker. A lot of the time you just feed this lane, and then come back in the jungle, but he's not feeding at all, and he's actually getting decent levels, so... Yeah, kudos to him for actually not dying in this lane, although he has had help. with the SK.
Still,
There's a
they've
big
been
rotation
handling it well. I mean, Dendy's level 6 up top, snowball in, on to Crystallize. He's got some raindrops, but I don't know if it's going to matter. Maybe he can get off the stick charges and turn. Roof Split doing some serious work, though, and the Gyrocopter falls. They'll lose their Shadow Shaman on the side as LeBron gets put into the Tornado, but King R will not be able to make the escape. And now General, he wants this Brew going back into Panda form. He's pretty healthy, 10 stick charges. This will be a slightly difficult kill to find. However, there are 3 of them.
That's such a good juke spot. That's such a good juke spot. He can go down. He can juke into the trees to the right. Oh, he's not gonna. He's just gonna walk through the tower. Okay, that's such a nice juke spot. If you're an offlaner, that is one you have to know, because people do not expect that. And then if you get into the trees behind the tower, there's so many paths you could go.
Well, he's gonna get caught now. He tried to use that TP, the rocket from downtown. They will sandwich him. So the point is the same. He had an opening. Dendy with the double damage room, actually struggling to kill all of these stacks. But Navi very happy with that. They clean it up and they make some space for their Tinker.
You know, one thing that I've noticed about these players is that they use wand charges extremely efficiently. Like, they literally save them to the last second to bait as many spells as humanly possible. Sometimes even saving the wand charges for another gank, like, assuming that, okay, I'm gonna die here anyway. But a lot of the time, they actually, like, the Gyro, for example, gets 2 kills there because he saved the wand charges for the last second, baiting himself so that the enemy team commits really heavily. And sure, he dies, but the turnaround was really great because he didn't just blow the wand charges as soon as possible. Well, he made himself look a lot more killable. Speaking of which,
yeah, see you later, Night Stalker. Jug's gonna find him in the trees, and we were talking about that Omni Slash. He's picked up a couple items now, and he's got the damage. Aquila and a Battle Fury on the way. Pretty much just a Demon Edge to go. This is really a great start for the Juggernaut. Both him and the Shadow Fiend farming exceptionally well right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's concerning to have 2 cores that are a problem like this, and especially 2 cores that are pretty hard to kill when they start getting items like SF when he gets his movement speed items, movement speed talents, and he spends a lot of time in the jungle. Jug with his spin, like, these heroes are pretty hard to kill, although they have a Night Stalker. So the moment it hits night, we're gonna see a lot more action coming from the side of Navi, because it's obviously gonna be pretty passive right now because General can't really do anything.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, smoke. Effect looking for something here.
We're looking to triple raise this Gyro with the Tusk combo, it looks like. Maybe even the Tinker. Although I think they see that the Tinker and the Gyro are both in the jungle. They don't want to run into both of them. That's pretty dangerous. So they're just going to wait in the lane for the Gyro to return. Oh, there he is. They see him.
Crystallize now initiated on. Snowball heading forward. He gets knocked into the trees. It almost keeps him alive, but Ninja catches him with the raises. Dendy now throwing some rockets. Not going to be able to follow up too much.
How close is Dendy to travel? So he's not that bad. He's about 300 gold away. That's pretty good timing for going for Soul Ring and Bottle first, too. Although he's got nice stacks in the jungle set up for him, so... Supports did a really good job, clearly, here of... although he's dealing with, like, a Tuscan SF heavy kill combo, they just stacked for him anyway. So his timing on the Boots of Travel are just... It's perfectly fine. In fact, I'd say this is probably a little earlier than most people get Boots of Travel on this hero.
Yeah, I guess in that sense you do expect maybe the Tinker team to be a little bit behind at this stage and then kick it up once that global presence comes online for Tinker. Effect will continue to be unrelenting, though. Top tier 1 falls. Bottom putting some pressure on as well as Kuman gets more space to farm. Navi kind of pressuring that mid tier 1, but they get repelled and start to rotate back into their own jungle.
Gyro headed mid, but looks like they might go for a smoke here. Yeah, the Jug is a hard kill, but they have the Night Stalker. That is the great counter, the silence, and Jug is playing very aggressively on this bottom lane. Although it looks like he might be he's playing defensively now. He's out.
Spin TP, easy survival. Double damage Night Stalker, definitely something to be wary of.
Was I lagging, or did he TP then spin?
I'm not sure. I think it was just a normal spin TP. I don't think so.
Maybe I'm lagging. That was weird. It looked like he TP'd then spun. I didn't. If he did, I don't know. You can do that, but
weird. Well, things taking a slightly more passive turn. Effect grouping up his 5, kind of looking for opportunities to gank. They've got Rost awards. Probably won't need it to finish off this tier 1. But when they have all their ultimates up, there's really no reason why this team wouldn't want to pick a fight. They're going to head into the Roche pit after taking the tier 1.
That makes sense.
Rost awards for this. Yeah, here we go.
That's a really good call to save the roster wards and then use them for Roche. Especially with the Jug, this is such an easy play, to be honest.
Ice Blast, though, on the way, will connect, and now the rotation from Na'Vi will begin. It looks like they do want to contest this.
This is fightable for Na'Vi. I think this is really bad for Effect, actually.
They will get there in time. Effect taking damage.
Tusk is doing a great job.
Now King R trying to zone them out. Tusk will fall. The Roche goes down, and Effect able to pick up the Aegis, only losing one, but Na'Vi want more. General charging forward. Omni slash Hex. It does a lot of damage, but not enough. Now Kuman in deep. He's trying to finish off Lil, and it will work. Back on the other side, what do we got? The Shadow Fiend playing relatively conservative now. Afterlife still has the Bruce split. Maybe they'll just settle for the Sand King, but not the easiest target to connect with. He goes up to the high ground, TP home, and he will live. So Rasta got killed on the backside there, but in the end, I think Effect will take it. They do secure the Roche that they came for.
King R did such a good job at sacrificing himself to secure that Roche, because when you're dealing with a gyro, I know that they have the Jug to spin, and that's, you know, that's fine and dandy, but when you have a Night Stalker plus a gyro, they can actually silence and then fight that Roche with the AA Blast, and it could have been devastating, but Tusk recognizing this, King R goes up to the high ground and basically sacrifices himself for that last couple of seconds that it took to kill the Roche on, and despite, you know, losing, it was basically a 1-for-1 other than that, and Effect got the Roche on, so you can see the net worth kind of reflects that, but that went really, really well for them, I think. Kudos to the Tusk for making that play, and it could have just been a feed, but he knew the timing. He was very confident in that timing, and he was right about it, so good for him.
Back towards mid, Kuman. Here's some drums get popped. He's just going to spin defensively, make it back, no problem. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Sand King, he's going to get jumped on. They've got a sentry. Follow-up damage will be there. Ninja. They've got a Hex. Raises will connect, and Brew actually finds the crit for the kill.
A nice kill. They have wards, so they can actually pressure this high ground, although it's a tier 3. Well, they do have the Jug in the area, actually. They're all in the area. They could really pressure this high ground. Maybe they don't use wards. Maybe they just force...
So they do have wards, though. Maybe this is the time to use it. Dire do have a glyph. Yeah, kind of an odd spot to be in. Like you said, Tinker doesn't really do a lot to stop these kind of ward pushes. And right now, Ice Blast, it will fly in from far away. Looks like it'll connect on just 2. Afterlife backs up, and that probably would have killed him. Ward's now just going to get cleaned up, and yeah, it's just going to end up giving extra money to Na'Vi. A little bit of damage done. They do force a glyph.
Force them back. I guess that's what the whole plan was there.
Yeah. Unfortunate, though, to drop the wards and just have Navi's carries clean it up, you know.
Yeah. Although Effect is actually, they're doing kind of a fake back up in the top lane here. They're looking to maybe kill the gyro, hide in the trees here. They just have the Jug going back, hoping that the gyro gets a little overzealous and pushes this lane out.
Interesting.
I feel like he actually might. I mean, this is a play what
it's a weird play. You don't see this very often. It's going to catch him. Crystallize does have drum charges. They'll try to use it. They even commit the Bruce split for this. They get the kill there, and now they're hungry for more. Night Stalker makes it to the high ground. The Sand King can be a little too fast. Instead, they're going to head the other way. The Pandas can start smacking the structures, but instead they'll just run forward, take a little bit of damage from Na'Vi. So now
nice
the
kill,
actual
but they don't
retreat.
Have the Jug, so they can't push without the Jug because he has the healing ward, and they need that to deal with the Tinker March. So it's a nice, like, cheeky play, and they got the carry killed, but unfortunately for them, it doesn't result in a push without the Jug. And they had to have him showing, though, elsewhere for Na'Vi to feel safe. So it was a really, really nice play. But it's just unfortunate that their other heroes don't push because they could have gotten a lot more out of it.
Yeah,
a lot of the time, a play like that will result in, like, you know, a huge, huge advantage. But that was just kind of a nice pick on the gyro, as opposed to a huge advantage.
Yeah, looking at the gold graph, things have definitely plateaued. Na'Vi have kind of stopped the bleeding for now. Effect still in a pretty scary position. They've got Yules on the Shadow Fiend with that Blink Dagger on the way and an Aegis of the Immortal sitting in the inventory. Still no Blink Dagger on LeBron, not even halfway there.
Oh, they actually gave the Aegis to Afo Ninja. That makes sense. Jug is very, very tanky in this game. And actually, Jug just ended up taking this stack of that was supposed to be Gyro stack.
Oh.
That's pretty bad for Na'Vi. I guess they probably should have taken that a little earlier.
Mid lane, Afterlife sets up onto Crystallize. The Ice Blast will come in, connects on a few, but now LeBron caught by the shackles. It's a quick 2-for-0, double kill for Kuman. And Afterlife, man, he made that whole thing happen. We watched him on the high ground just looking over the ravine, thinking about the setup. They make the call, and they catch the gyro completely unaware.
This is really, really rough for the gyro. Although, the thing is, like, Jug is just such a good counter to this hero. And, I mean, Jug's getting picked a decent amount, but I think Gyro is, like, one of the top picks, top bans right now.
He's definitely
It's kind of like the Lycan situation that we saw, where they really, really do have the counters to this hero. Like, they don't care all that much about the Gyro's BS. Like, the Jug just presses Omni on him and he dies for full HP. Nothing that Gyro can really do to avoid that until he gets like crazy amounts of items.
Up top, TP's home from NAVI. They will all just make the retreat and try and push bottom and maybe get a trade that way. Nightstalker has just got his big core item, and it's a Hand of Midas. I don't know, dude. This game could get pretty rough, and it might end before you really see that Hand of Midas come to fruition. I guess General is trying to hedge his bets, and if they can hold on, banking on the Tinker and Gyro, who are really good at high ground defense, that farming tool will pay off. But it's definitely a gamble. I think he
hit the nail on the head. I think that's exactly why he got the Midas. He's literally just banking on the Tinker and knows he's not going to get gold from kills, and Nightstalker doesn't exactly farm jungle fast, so he's basically trying to still be a core in this game, if it does end up going late, because he knows that he has the Tinker, and it could possibly go late. But if it doesn't go late, they're going to lose anyway, so it doesn't really matter these other items that he has, because they're not getting kills that much. So yeah, I think it's exactly what you said. He's hedging his bets.
Well, things getting maybe better for Navi now with the Aether Lens up on the Tinker. That definitely helps. Makes him just a little bit more obnoxious. The Aegis of the Immortal is since expired.
Against a bunch of heroes that can't catch him in the trees, the Aether Lens is going to be very, very effective, because really the only way that they have to kill him is like if he's setting up defending high ground and they go on him before he's ready. But with the Aether Lens, he's so far back that they can't really do that. So I like this pickup on him. But when he gets the Aghanim Scepter, he's going to be able to hold out for even longer. So we might actually see this Midas on the Nightstalker and the Gyro being naturally good at farming and actually...
Oh.
That is a dead Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, it sure is. He was trying to be a little cheeky on the side of the lane. Thought he was in fog, but got popped by one of the rockets.
No, Crystallized died again.
But they get crystallized while they're distracted by that. We kind of missed that kill. Sorry, folks. It was a big rotation into the enemy jungle, and Effect have got to be happy with that. Now down bottom, LeBron getting snowballed. He will be able to burrow strike away. Detection, they've got it. Walrus Punch, and Jug will find yet another kill. Tinker is now rotated down bottom, and he's just going to spam out some March. Around the map, it's Effect distracting with their Shadow Shaman and finding kills on the big boys.
Kind of interesting how they're dealing with Tinker at this point. Not so much picking a Storm and trying to actually find him. They're just kind of like ignoring him, you know? Almost like just not really caring and just destroying the team instead of Tinker.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's going pretty well. I guess we'll see when Tinker picks up the Aghanims, and with the Aether Lens, it's going to be a lot harder to do this. Like, at some point, he's going to become a real issue for them, despite Jug being a pretty good counter in terms of the healing ward allowing them to push. So I think eventually they're going to need to deal with him, especially because there's really diminishing returns on killing this Gyro over and over again. He's very, very far behind at this point. As we can see, he's almost 4 levels behind his Tinker. And, I mean, God, like 5 or 6 levels behind his Juggernaut at this point.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It's reminding me a little bit of those Alchemist games that can kind of look even because the Alch is farming so well, but the rest of his team is completely starved, and then you see a team fight and go, oh yeah, it is kind of 5v1. That's the way Effect is trying to take this game. We'll see the Shadow Shaman again walk into the enemies as they rotate up looking for a gank, but kind of a blessing in disguise. That means the Brewmaster lives. He's got a Hand of Midas that's farming away. He's working on his Vladimir's Offering. These picks on the Shadow Shaman don't really give Navi a lot. A 5-hero rotation is costly, as we've talked about so many times.
Yeah, it really is. This Brew having a Midas, this SF, I mean, like, geez, I mean, the SF hasn't even been much of a problem. You know, he's just been kind of doing his own thing, but at a certain point, he's gonna get a BKB. He's gonna be a real issue. And it's just kind of been the Jug that's the issue, but really, I mean, SF has been free from me this whole time. You can see he's now second on net worth, and the only person he's below is the Juggernaut, who's a Battle Fury. And this Nightstalker's he's getting scouted. Oh, okay, they're not going to go for it. Oh, wow, that's ballsy from King R.
On to King R, yeah, he's going to snowball in, though. Looks like it might secure the kill onto LeBron, and they'll get it.
They just have such an advantage. He can do stuff like that, and it's going to be worth it. That's honestly good. Like, I like the idea of playing very ballsy like that. I mean, obviously, in this case, it resulted in a kill, but if you're in a much more safe position where you didn't want to do something like that, it might even still be worth it because it's just to apply this psychology to... Oh, God, that's a dead Tinker.
FNJ catches him. He misses the last raise, but the snowball in. Tusk might have it. The blink forward. Cold Feet will connect onto King Arn. It's going to be the end of him as rockets fly. Tinker just barely lives. A slippery bandit indeed. Hard to get a hold of. And turns it around.
That could have been really bad for NAVI, and it turned out really well. But anyway, actually, this is a perfect example. What the Tusk did there was pretty ballsy, you might say. I mean, he died, right? But I like this idea that he's playing so ballsy because it's this kind of effect on the enemy team where they need to be so careful because this guy's willing to do anything. Like, he could be anywhere. You know what I mean? It's like this fear factor that he's applying to them, which is going to keep them trapped in their base. And I mean, Dota's really a game of psychology when it comes to these things. And I think the more defensive that NAVI is forced to play, the better it's going to be for effect in kind of securing the map and getting more of a net worth lead, which is something that you need to do anyway against a Tinker because you don't want to just rush up into the high ground. So absolutely. I like how they're playing. They're being completely unrelenting, and that's exactly what they need to do with this sort of lead.
Yeah, I think, however, Effect might want to try to push their advantage before this Tinker Aghanims comes out because that really ups his damage output a lot. And you can deal with it with pipes and stuff. I don't think they have a pipe on the way. Brewmaster might be the one to get it. But this is a window you want to hit where the Tinker is forced to play a little bit more defensive because he can't just burst the entire team down. They do smoke up, so maybe the right idea in mind, but not going to find much with their current rotation.
Wow,
looks like Roche will be the option.
AA ult just went over Roche too. That's so unlucky for Na'Vi and very lucky for Effect. Effect didn't even know that the AA ult just went over Roche because he didn't launch it.
Yeah.
So it just the scouting was just slightly too
well,
quick.
Ends up being a pretty easy Roche. Effect will get credit for that. The Aegis and a cheese picked up. See the cheese.
Okay, Jug takes this Aegis because he's going to be functioning as the seizure in this game.
Yep.
They kind of learned from the last push that Jug actually was taking quite a bit of damage and was in kind of a kill threshold, even with that healing ward.
Yeah, and I think some heroes can do more with cheese than others, and Shadow Fiend really likes having a burst mana and heal maybe than that predictable coming back to life.
Oh yeah, true.
In some ways, it's even better, just optimize the spread of the two pieces. But absolutely, Jug in the front lines is what you were talking about against the Tinker. He can just smack this tower and force out the glyph and not care at all about the March of the Machine. Gonna come back up to the high ground. Already a victory for Effect. The snowball forward. FNJ with the well played, of course. No split pushing coming out of Na'Vi right now. They are just trying to mount this defense at the high ground.
Gonna pop healing ward on the next one, I think, and go for it. Or maybe he'll just spin. He'll go blink spin TP or blink spin, hit the tower, and then maybe on the next one he'll do the healing ward.
Maybe they just rotate to mid to try to catch him off guard. Now the top is pushed in. We still have the Shadow Fiend push out mid. Creep wave on the way. Effect playing this very cautiously.
I guess. Okay, yeah, they're just being very cautious. But I guess the mid lane's actually a lot easier to siege against a Tinker, I think, because there's less tree line for him to hide in. So I do feel like, traditionally the mid lane is kind of hard to siege because there's a lot of angles the enemy team can come at you. But yeah, definitely against a Tinker, like, it's a lot easier to get on top of him, although they're not even trying for it. So, but we might see them go there. We might not. They'll probably go top because it's so low.
Aghanim Scepter, it's up. And double Midas from Na'Vi, actually. Ancient Apparition and the Night Stalker got one. Night Stalker breaks the smoke, caught by the Yules. FNJ with the BKB. Channels the ultimate in general, is just getting obliterated. Now caught by the Shackles. Tinker is raining in damage from the high ground, though, and this could start to find some kills.
Na'Vi,
they're getting very low, but the Ice Blast will expire. They were so close to a Tinker triple kill, and now they will have the opportunity to heal up. Jug just going straight in. He does have a double damage rune on. The timing on this is incredible. Afterlife will get bursted down before he can brew split.
Jeez,
Jug
nice
getting low.
LeBron.
That'll be the end of the Aegis. Healing ward does survive, though.
Nice. He drops the March because he's got a TP home, so doesn't want to...
Well, little messy for Effect.
Yeah.
I think if the brew gets the split off there, kind of a different fight. They do get the tier 3 tower, so at least they'll open up some shrines. They get some extra gold out of that. Not the worst way to use the Aegis, but definitely a bit awkward.
I mean, LeBron with that stun on the Brewmaster was so beautiful. I think he pre-stunned the Brew. Like, in Vision, you just target the Brew when he's not in range to stun, so instantly, when he does get in range, you're going to stun. And I think that's what he did, just completely sidelining the Brew. Like, he didn't expect that at all, and he's just stunned and dies to the March, so... Just beautiful play by LeBron there, actually. And that's the sort of stuff that they need to do when they're playing at like a disadvantage like this. Like, you have to make those sort of plays, otherwise you just eventually lose to like a very obvious high ground siege, you know.
Tinker, 1,300 gold. Wonder what he's
Sheep next.
Gonna buy next. Yeah, good call. He just queues it up right there. It's the Hex.
When sheep comes out on Tinker, like there's actually potential to kill any hero in the game of Dota. So Navi's got to be feeling pretty. I mean, I don't want to say confident because obviously they're kind of on the back foot this whole game, but they're gonna be pretty happy to go into the late game with a hero like Tinker when he gets his sheep up, and he's almost level 18, so he's gonna have that level 3 in rearm, and he's gonna be way more of a threat on this map and able to be in a lot more places, a lot better positions with this level 3 in rearm.
Looking for this Sand King. He can only be in so many places, and they found him. Nice blink, and the dust actually doesn't hit. Now he'll burrow strike into the corner and TP. Somehow Appa Ninja catches him. Now he's out of options, and it'll be effect with another freebie up on the scoreboard. Great play by the Shadow Fiend to predict that.
You like, I mean, God, it's ridiculous, like seeing him do something like that, because it's almost as if he has vision, but he doesn't. It's just his intuitions in the game. Like, he knows that's the spot that he would burrow strike to, and he probably was spamming Yules not on the Sand King, but on the location, assuming that, and he was right. It's just crazy to think that. Like, as you know, we kind of see God mode, but he doesn't. He just like had the intuition, and he was spot on. So Jesus, kudos to him for that. Like, that's a really nice pick on the SK.
Bottom tier 2 goes down because of it. Jug now with a basher. He's going to go into a butterfly next, it looks like. Itemizing very well and still staying ahead of the curve. Dendy getting close to that first piece of the Hex, but has a little ways to go. Night Stalker with a gem. Trying to clear out wards and maintain some map control for Na'Vi. Always annoying to play against. You'll get the Na'Vi vision right now, and they do have a fair number of wards down. They've also got one up in the top lane. Radiant, very light on vision right now. Tinker ward down here in the bottom, but ultimately they are playing blind, and that is the Night Stalker factor.
Actually, crazy General's farm. Like, if you look at his last hits, he has 123 compared to Gyro's 250 or so. And the net worth is about even between them. I mean, not exactly even. Gyro's like 1,500 ahead, but he's doing very nicely on this Night Stalker. He has an Aghanims. If he didn't go for this Midas, he'd be pretty goddamn useless right now. He wouldn't have any items.
No, it's definitely paid off. I was a little skeptical when he grabbed it, but it was a really smart choice. And it's been hard for Effect to push high ground. And it's kind of like Na'Vi know there's a mental game. And that Effect have, when in doubt, maintained their economy, which is definitely what you want to do, but it's also allowed these farming tools to pay off. It's the same thing with the Ancient Apparition. He is working on an Aghanim Scepter. Still pretty far away, but he's got that point booster, and he's making progress.
Yeah. That's gonna be a huge item when he has that Aghanim Scepter on Ancient Apparition against these heroes in the healing ward. That's a huge factor in Effect's push on the Tinker, and when he uses that Aghanim Scepter ulti, it doesn't even matter if Jug spins, he's still not going to heal. So that's just gonna make the Tinker that much stronger. We've seen how much they've struggled against it, and like you said, it's a mental game. They almost all died in that last team fight to a Tinker. They gotta be feeling like, I don't want to say uncomfortable, because obviously they have a lead in this game, but it's got to be a little bit scary knowing how close that was, and especially with the Brew being blown up by the Tinker and the SK in that fight. One of these fights could go very, very poorly, and all of a sudden we're going to see the network be dead even.
Yeah, down bottom, they're going to be forced to return home. Just a little bit of split push from the Sand King.
My God.
Look at this. He's going to have to shackle the Siege Creep to keep his tier 3 alive, and it might even cost him his life. Ancient Apparition was hanging nearby, and Lil
they're going to get a tower.
Completely baits it.
Oh my God, the double siege is so OP, man.
Wow.
Oh God.
Well, that is a gift for Na'Vi right there. Lil helping to set up those plays. It was the Sand King that did most of the pushing down there, and then Lil just hung around in the tree line thinking, well, if they continue to push, I'll get a big Ice Blast. If not, I'll ensure these Siege Creeps are able to do maximum damage. And the reward is a tier 3, so now Na'Vi have the option to kill some shrines if they get on the other side of the map.
God, that's also a lot of net worth too. We can see that the net worth lead down from 7K, it's about 4K only, and I mean, yeah, that's with the Night Stalker offlane too. This isn't a hero who farms a lot, right? Like, and Gyro is actually kind of underfarmed as well. So this is a nice nice net worth lead for your enemy team to be at. You know, when you were at such a disadvantage, you're pretty happy in this scenario right now. Although they have lost a lot of map control. They have 1 shrine left. That's got to be pretty scary. Like, effect could be anywhere.
Yeah. She's still on the Brewmaster. Brew is working on a BKB, and that'll definitely be big for him. They've proven that they've got the burst damage to take him pretty much full to 0 if he blinks in. Well, I guess he wasn't full to 0 last time, but they have the reaction power to just take him down if he gets too aggressive.
They definitely could take him from full to 0 too, though, with the Tinker and the SK and the Silence and stuff. Like, it is something to be like hugely concerned about. So the BKB is I mean, I would be tempted to go for like a Radiance or something in this game, but it's just so not as safe, you know. It's not even close to us. Like, BKB is absolutely the item, unless I've noticed that actually in these games, like, people are very, very, if they need a BKB at all, if there's any modicum of like an idea that they need a BKB, they go for it. You know, even first item, second item, they'll go for BKB, and I like it. I wonder if that's because of the BKB changes or just because European players or, well, CIS players are more you know, better at picking up BKBs, because I know a lot of the NA guys just hate going for BKBs. They'll get Scotties and Mantas and everything that they could possibly get to avoid going for a BKB. But
yeah, I mean, some of it is definitely like play style oriented. You know, you'll see across the different regions there are sort of like different cultures with big decision making like that. But a lot of items coming out now. Gyro, he's got an MKB. That Agonist for Ancient Apparition is now really close. There's a Hex on the Tinker, but also the Shadow Fiend is working on a Hex, and he's got about halfway there.
We've seen that. We've seen that in the late game. It's insane.
And the Butterfly is up on the Jug. So Gyro kind of staying a step ahead. There's also a Shadow Blade on the Night Stalker, which can be pretty annoying. Gives him another positioning tool. 10-second BKB on the Gyro. So Crystallize has not popped that first charge. Navi are pretty well equipped. You know, 5K net worth gap is really small. It feels like Effect has been in control for a lot of this game, but it is far from over.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not... It's, like, so hard to tell in this patch who has the better late game, too. Like, 7.08, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, this SF Blink Sheep stuff, pretty insane. But Tinker with the sheep too is, I mean, that's just like, you can permahex somebody.
All about Gyro initiation, like and both teams have a lot of tools. You know, Navi have this.
But they have Night Stalker on Navi.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. The Aghanim's Night Stalker gives you so much vision. They should have the initiation advantage, but Brewmaster, Shadow, I mean, there's a lot of blink hexes, you know, snowballs and whatnot. A lot of ways to start fights.
You know, I actually didn't even think if they run around with the Night Stalker and they have the blink sheep on Tinker and travels too, they could get some insane late game ganks going on. It's kind of like the Coddle. You know, really high skill Coddle players would go for. Okay, there might be a fight happening top. Looks like they're looking. Okay, never mind. They're backing off. But high skill Coddle players would walk around with like a Shadow Blade and a Sheep Stick and a Bloodthorn. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but they'd recall somebody in, and with the day vision, they would basically gank at day and just kill people out of position. And with Night Stalker, it's like the same thing at night, except Tinker, of course, has the Sheep Stick, and it's like. It's just super good. It feels so broken when it's happening. Like, you can't split at all.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll get to that point eventually.
I mean, I see what you're talking about. The vision from Night Stalker is absurd, and we've seen what Tinker can do with any kind of vision enhancement, whether it's a Beastmaster or a Bounty Hunter or a Night Stalker. Just having eyes is half the battle when he gets this farm. Now Roche going to be under attack by Effect, but an Ice Blast comes in, and Navi can definitely contest this. Very risky play here from Effect, but Roche is falling quickly. This is a big Roche. This is Refresher Shard, but General not going to go in, and they will just let it fall. King R instead goes out. They initiate onto General. He'll fall first, and it is the Jug that's picked up the Aegis of the Immortal.
That's a huge pickoff for Effect. That's the gem. I mean,
BKB, Ninja going in onto Lil, finds the raise, and will bring him down. So that's 2 dead, but meanwhile, Crystallize, he's down bottom. These are exposed barracks. He does force Ninja back to defend. He'll clear out this creep wave and then have to deal with these Gyro Illusions. He is doing damage to the melee barracks, unfortunately, so this will just heal up. Could have been a little sure damage there, but putting the pressure on, and more importantly, stopping Effect from making the push happen. The Sand King getting very low. LeBron also taking a lot of damage. He gets bashed, and it's the end of the Sand King. They had the vision. BKB used by Afterlife. He's also got that Refresher Shard, so that means 2 Brew ultimates. Probably one of the best heroes in terms of having an ult to refresh. At this stage of the game, it gives Brew so much disable power.
Oh yeah, he's so annoying with the refresher. Honestly, he just splits. He doesn't care. He just splits to take the racks, and look how much damage he chunks it for. It's ridiculous.
Yep, and with the wards, it's absolutely insane. There is a glyph available. They don't use it for the top melee barracks. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Gyro, he's getting very low. Looks like Alpha Ninja's been chasing him down, so Gyro's not even here to defend. He does not have a TP scroll. Shadow Fiend might have interrupted it. A lot of split action happening, but Effect are getting so much out of this. There's the refresher. BKB used by Afterlife. He's got another split. This isn't Aghanim's Ice Blast, but they're just going to tank right through it.
Oh,
finishing off melee barracks. He wants to go in. Boulder toss onto Ancient Apparition. And now the Brew is just going to head down bottom. LeBron goes in, but gets immediately counter-stunned. Crowd-controlled Tinker with a lot of AoE damage. Finishes off the Aegis. But now he's coming back to life. A spin away as the Brewmaster goes back into Panda form. Crippling damage done to Na'Vi, but they're not done yet. They want more, perhaps. Alpha Ninja getting low. Tinker doing a lot of damage with the rockets, but Kunin, he's trying to get off the Omni Slash. It gets interrupted. A lot of individual skirmishes as the BKB gets popped by Crystallize, bringing the Jug low. Alpha Ninja finally gets popped as General and Afterlife are going blow for blow. Looks like they are going to bring down the Brewmaster, and they did kill King R on the other side. Jug going to limp away, and he dies to the Ice Blast. Oh, my. It's a full wipe. All 5 down on the side of Infect. It's a 6,500 net worth swing. Can you call it a defense, though? Na'Vi, they didn't use any buybacks, but they did lose basically 2 barracks.
I mean, they need to do something outside of their base, because on the next... Did they have Glyph? I can't tell. Dire... Okay, so they do have Glyph. Alright, so that's good. So they can prepare for the next Brew Split and Spin and BKB with the Glyph. But after that, okay, actually, it looks like Na'Vi is forcing the buybacks on the bottom lane. Are they going to get a free racks here?
Well, so
this is an important lane to get the racks in, because this is the racks that they need to defend.
Yeah, but there's tier 2s standing in the other lane, so the damage potential here is pretty limited. I think if you're Effect, you let this go. They're probably going to push in mid, but maybe you need to buy back on the Jug or the Shadow Fiend. Na'Vi didn't use any buybacks in that last quote-unquote defense, so this is a really scary point to fall behind in terms of buyback status. But now that tier 2 in the mid has been broken, they've lost the bottom lane of barracks. Effect basically can't lose off this push unless they get wiped. Or there's the glyph. Okay. They're biding their time well here, Jenkins. I think they're going to get away without using any buybacks. Brew jumps in. BKB, he's got the split, and he holds it. Nicely done by Afterlife, not to just pop the ult immediately. The BKB was enough to scare them back, and they even hold the tier 3 mid.
Yeah, that's a really good call by him. I mean, that could feel pretty dangerous to do something like that with your cores dead, but knowing that he has the BKB timing and then he can ult right out of the BKB, there's nothing they can really do about it. He just wastes their time for a little bit when they could have gotten the tower, you know. So that's although they did get very, very close.
I mean, it's still a lot of damage, but after that whole exchange,
only a 1K gold lead.
I know, right? Look at the gold graph hasn't even updated completely yet, but it was as much as like 12K, and now it's been leveled out to 1, and we're getting into that point of the game where it feels like being down a barracks and a half really doesn't matter. I guess they're only down a half barracks right now, so it's a strikingly even game.
Yeah, this is they really, really turned it with the in that last fight. I mean, you should have seen Dendy's mana. He barely he stayed in the fight where I think a less experienced Tinker might TP home and try to get more mana. And as a result, he had a little bit of mana to use his Sheepstick, a little bit of mana to finish off the Shadow Fiend with his laser. Like, it was so tight, so close. And but it turned out like greatly to his advantage. I mean, they wiped all 5 of them, and it was due to a direct result of Dendy staying around and not just TPing back home.
Back to 5v5 Dota we go. Both sides being pretty cautious here and staying relatively grouped up. Dendy taking a little bit of risk with his positioning, but what you'd expect out of the Tinker. He does have E-Blade coming pretty soon. Still a lot of buybacks available. Jug also with the Abyssal Blade. He's got a BKB queued up now.
It's always such a weird game when you need BKB on Jug.
Yeah. Hey, they happen occasionally.
But against Tinker, it's so necessary.
So Night Stalker and Tinker are the 2 without buyback. Afterlife just goes in, There is no glyph for the Dire, so they can just focus barracks here with the magic immunity. Now the Primal split, puts one up into the air. That's going to be the Gyrocopter. General goes in, gets Abyssal. Nice stun from the Sand King. It keeps General alive, but maybe not for long. Ninja doing huge damage, gets Dendi low. He'll fall. Now Dendi has enough gold for the buyback, but Gyro does not. This very well could be the end of Na'Vi in game number 1. It's at least going to be the end of their barracks. It's an ultimate from LeBron, but that epicenter is not going to do a lot. Lil gets brought down. The Shadow Fiend still doing so much damage. Dendi's in the back line laying down rockets. It's getting a lot of heroes low, but there's the Shadow Shaman with the crowd controls. He's going to pay with his life to make sure his cores can get out. It's not Megas quite yet. There is still a ranged barracks mid. Kind of thought the creeps would have finished it off in the meantime, but Na'Vi do a good job of hanging on. And somehow, some way, Jenkins, it's not Megas quite yet. But it almost certainly will be. They can
definitely still win this. Without, you know, things would be a lot more grim if they got Megas. And I keep reading this glyph thing wrong, but I believe they now have glyph.
Yes, Na'Vi have glyph now. They did use 2 buybacks there to boot, so pretty significant economic damage.
Yeah, good God. Although the heroes that did buy back, like it's Tinker, and who else bought back? Was it LeBron? AA, okay. Well, I think AA is pretty happy with his current kit of items, and I don't think he's really going to want any. Like, he's not really going to get any more before the game ends. And Tinker, of course, like with these items, he's pretty happy as well. He's 8 slotted, so yeah, he doesn't really need any more items. So, economically speaking, I don't know if it matters all that much at this point in the game. It's just so late in the game, but they could definitely still win. The thing is, it's very unfortunate for Na'Vi that Effect still have their buybacks. They have not used any buybacks, so it's not just going to take one fight. It's going to take a few, maybe 2. Ideally for them, 2. But Effect, they're going to be well aware of that, and they're not going to be using their buybacks needlessly.
Gem on the Night Stalker. Jug maybe a little too far forward. He's got a lot of support, but the Ice Blast doing a lot of damage. He will use the BKB. Hexes on both sides. LeBron be the one that's brought down. Here's the Spirit Bomb. It's BKB. General takes no damage, but Dendi diebacks on the side. It's a huge ultimate from Kuman. He will pay with his life. Afterlife now gets off the split. They even deploy the wards for this, but they've got the crowd controls. At least they think. The ward's doing a lot of damage to Crystallize. He goes down. No buyback hit on him either. Ninja again with the Yule's Scepter, abusing that cooldown reduction talent. General will be able to get away. He's got the gem. He's still invisible, but GG is called. Na'Vi know it's done, and Effect take game 1 in this best-of-3 elimination series.
It's so hard to play Tinker when you bot back and when they have all of this map advantage. Like, all they need to do is focus the Tinker in the team fight, and they win. And that's what they did. They ignored everything. They ran for the Tinker. A bunch of them died, but they had their buybacks to work with, so it didn't matter. Like, that's the thing when you have these buybacks versus a Tinker who doesn't. You just kill him, sacrifice your lives to kill him, and I mean, it's over. Your Tinker dies, it's over. Unless Gyro has a Rapier.
Really impressive game from Effect. They play that Brewmaster so well, except for that one missed initiation, maybe overzealous from Afterlife. It seemed like a really, really good performance where he made a lot of space, set up a lot of kills. The Jug as well as the Shadow Fiend, man, they farmed like absolute animals. And their ability to farm and also take fights definitely enabled by that supporting cast. A noble effort from Na'Vi, but in the end, Effect were just too strong.